They told me you should have never been born during Christmas, so I walked out, changed my name and built the company that's now destroying theirs. Our family grows with your support. Hit subscribe, and drop a quick comment sharing your location. It makes this journey even more special. I should have known something was wrong when Mama didn't hug me at the door. Christmas 2019, and the Lawson family mansion smelled like pine and expensive wine, but the air felt toxic. I'm Linda. Well, I was Linda Lawson then. 26 years old, fresh MBA, working 60-hour weeks at Daddy's logistics company for half what my brothers made. Your family, you don't need the same salary, Daddy always said. I'd swallowed that lie for 4 years. My older brother Martin was there with his wife Jennifer, showing off their third vacation home photos. My younger brother Devin lounged by the fireplace, bragging about his new Tesla, bought with company funds he called executive perks. I'd driven my 2012 Honda, the same car I'd had since college. Nobody noticed I'd arrived. Linda, get the appetizers from the kitchen, Mama ordered without looking up from her phone. Not, Merry Christmas. Not, how are you, baby? Just orders. I was always the help at these gatherings, never the guest. But I went, because that's what dutiful daughters do, right? I didn't know I was walking toward the conversation that would detonate my entire life. Through the kitchen door, I heard Daddy's voice, low and cruel. I'm telling you, Richard, biggest mistake I ever made was letting Catherine talk me into keeping that pregnancy. Should have handled it quietly back then. My blood turned to ice. Richard, Uncle Richard, laughed. Man, you've been complaining about Linda for 26 years. Cut her loose already. My hand froze on the doorknob. They were talking about me. About my birth. Like I was a business problem, not a person. I pushed through the door, appetizer tray clattering. What did you just say? My voice came out stronger than I felt. Daddy's face hardened, that look he gave incompetent employees right before firing them. Linda, this is a private conversation. Uncle Richard had the decency to look uncomfortable, shuffling toward the living room. But I wasn't moving. Did you just say I should have never been born? The words tasted like battery acid. Daddy straightened his tie, that corporate power move he used to intimidate. Don't be dramatic. You weren't supposed to hear that, but since you did, yes. Your mother and I weren't ready for a third child. You were a mistake. We made the best of it, gave you everything, and this is how you repay us. Eavesdropping. The gaslighting was masterful. Make me the villain for hearing his cruelty. Mama walked in then, assessed the situation with cold calculation. James, what's going on? She always called him James in public, Daddy in private. Everything with her was performance. Your daughter is being disrespectful, he said. Not our daughter. Your daughter. Like I belonged to her alone when I disappointed him. I looked at Mama, desperate for defense, for love, for anything. Her lips thinned. Linda, you're always causing scenes. Can't we have one peaceful holiday? That's when something inside me cracked. Not broke, cracked. Like ice before it shatters completely. I heard what he said, Mama. He said I should have been aborted. That keeping me was a mistake. Her expression didn't change. That's what killed me. No shock, no denial, no maternal fury. Just exhaustion, like I was exhausting her by existing. Well, Mama said slowly, setting down her wine glass with deliberate care, if you must know, yes. We already had 2 sons. We didn't need a daughter. Certainly didn't need one who'd grow up to be so mediocre. The word hung there like a noose. Mediocre. I had a 3.9 GPA from Howard University. An MBA from Georgetown. I'd increased our logistics efficiency by 37% in 2 years. But I was mediocre because I wasn't Martin or Devon. Martin appeared in the doorway, Jennifer behind him. What's all the yelling? He looked annoyed, like I'd interrupted his showcase. Your sister is upset because she overheard something not meant for her ears, Daddy said, pouring himself bourbon. Again with the victim act, Linda. Martin sighed. Bro, seriously? Devon joined the growing audience. What did she do now? Now. Like I was always the problem. Always the one causing issues. They said I shouldn't have been born, I told my brothers, my voice breaking. On Christmas. They said keeping me was their biggest mistake. I wanted them to defend me, to be outraged, to be brothers. Devon laughed. Actually laughed. I mean, you kind of are though. The company was way less dramatic before you joined. Always complaining about equal pay and respect. Just be grateful you have a job. Martin nodded agreement. Linda, you take everything so personally. It's exhausting. Maybe if you weren't so sensitive, these conversations wouldn't happen. The room spun. My entire family stood there, united in their assessment, I was the problem. Not the cruelty, not the favoritism, not the casual admission that my existence was unwanted. Me. I was the issue. You know what the worst part is? My voice came out steady now, deadly calm. I've spent my whole life trying to earn love that was never available. I worked harder than both of you combined. I pointed at my brothers. I sacrificed weekends, holidays, relationships, all to prove I deserved to be here. And it was never enough because you decided when I was born that I wasn't wanted. Daddy stepped forward, that intimidating corporate posture. Linda Lawson, you will not speak to your brothers that way. This is exactly why you what? I interrupted. The shock on his face was almost worth it. I never interrupted him. Why you regret having me? Why you pay me $42,000 while Martin makes $95,000 for doing less work? Why you never promoted me despite my results? The numbers hung there, precise and damning. Jennifer's eyes widened, she hadn't known. Good. Let them all know. You've been tracking your brother's salaries. Mama's voice dripped with disgust. How pathetic. How invasive. I'm the company's senior logistics analyst. I see all the financials. It's literally my job. I pulled out my phone, hands trembling but determined. Want to know what else I see? How Devon expensed his entire vacation to Turks and Caicos as a business development trip. How Martin funnels company funds through his wife's consulting firm, which does nothing. How Daddy's been skimming profits into offshore accounts to avoid proper tax distribution. The silence was nuclear. You've been spying, Daddy said, his voice dangerously soft. No. I've been doing my job. Unlike your sons, who've been committing fraud. You ungrateful little bitch, Martin lunged forward, but Jennifer grabbed his arm. For the first time that night, someone showed sense. Martin, don't, she whispered urgently. She was looking at my phone, understanding dawning. She worked in corporate law. She knew what evidence meant. I've been documenting everything for 18 months, I continued, my voice gaining strength with each word. Every illegal expense, every fraudulent report, every OSHA violation you've swept under the rug. The warehouse incident last March where that forklift nearly killed someone because you refused to pay for maintenance. I have the mechanic's report you buried. Daddy's face went purple. You wouldn't dare. That's family business. You just told me I'm not really family. That I shouldn't exist. So why would I protect a family that never wanted me? The logic was simple, brutal, and utterly satisfying. Uncle Richard reappeared, having heard enough. James, maybe everyone should calm down. Stay out of this, Richard, Daddy snapped. But I saw something else in Uncle Richard's expression. Guilt? Recognition? He'd been there through my childhood, watched me get sidelined again and again. Linda has a point, he said quietly. Y'all have been pretty rough on her over the years. Not helping, Richard, Mama hissed. Devon stepped closer, trying to be threatening. He was 6'2", athletic, everything Daddy wanted in a son. Delete whatever you've got on that phone, or what? I met his eyes. You'll hit me. On camera. I gestured to the security cameras I knew covered this room. This is rich, Devon laughed, but it sounded nervous. Recording your own family. You're actually insane. You want to see insane? I pulled up my email, showing them the screen. This is my resignation letter, effective immediately. And this, I swiped to the next email, is a copy of all my evidence going to the Department of Labor, the IRS, and 3 different business ethics lawyers. Scheduled to send automatically if I don't cancel it by midnight. The bluff was partial, I had the evidence, but hadn't scheduled anything yet. Their faces told me they believed it though. You're bluffing, Daddy said, but his hand shook slightly. Try me. You said I should have never been born. Fine. Linda Lawson dies tonight. You'll never see me again. Mama moved then, faster than I'd seen her move in years. Linda, stop this nonsense. You're being childish. We'll discuss this rationally after the holidays. No. The word felt powerful. I'm done discussing, done explaining, done begging for scraps of love from people who see me as a mistake. I'm leaving. Where will you go? Martin sneered. You've got no real skills outside our company. You'll come crawling back in a month. That sneer fueled me. I've been interviewing for 6 months. I have offers from 3 of your biggest competitors. Been waiting for the right moment to leave. Thank you for making this easy. That part was true. Daddy's competitor, Raymond Shaw of Shaw Global Logistics, had been courting me aggressively. He knew my work, knew my value. If you walk out that door, you're dead to us, Daddy said, playing his final card. You'll get nothing. No inheritance, no family, no support. Nothing. I grabbed my coat from the hallway. You're right. I'll get nothing from you. But that's all I've ever gotten anyway. I changed my name legally that week, Linda Johnson. My grandmother's maiden name, from Mama's side. The only person who'd ever truly loved me unconditionally. She died when I was 12, and I'd grieved alone because Lawson women don't make spectacles of themselves at funerals, Mama had said. Grandma Jean would have been proud of me walking away. She'd always said, baby girl, sometimes the only way to save yourself is to leave the burning building. Raymond Shaw hired me January 2, 2020, as Director of Strategic Operations. $85,000 salary plus performance bonuses. Real bonuses, not my family's scraps. I've been watching your work for 2 years, Raymond told me during onboarding. He was 60, silver-haired, built Shaw Global from nothing. Your efficiency models are genius. Your family severely undervalued you. They didn't value me at all, I corrected. He nodded slowly. Their loss. My gain. Shaw Global was smaller than Lawson Logistics but hungrier, leaner, smarter. They actually listened when I proposed innovations. Within 3 months, I'd restructured their entire routing system, cutting fuel costs by 22% and delivery times by 30%. Our clients noticed. More importantly, Lawson Logistics clients noticed. Linda, sorry, Ms. Johnson, Raymond caught himself with a smile. We've got 5 companies requesting transfer from Lawson to us. They're specifically asking for you by reputation. How do they know it's me? Names might change, but work speaks. Word spreads in logistics circles about the analyst who revolutionized efficiency models. My former colleagues knew where I'd gone. The poaching had begun. By August 2020, I'd brought 17 major clients from Lawson to Shaw Global. COVID hit logistics hard, but my predictive models had us prepared. We thrived while others struggled. Raymond called me into his office one morning, looking older than usual. "Linda, I need to tell you something. I'm sick. Cancer. Stage 4. Doctors give me maybe 18 months. My stomach dropped. Raymond, I'm so sorry. I'd grown to genuinely respect this man who'd given me a chance when I was broken. Don't be sorry. Listen. I have no kids, no wife anymore, she passed years ago. This company is my legacy, and I'm not letting it die with me." He pushed papers across his desk. "I'm making you partner, effective immediately. 49% ownership now, controlling interest when I die. You've earned it." I couldn't breathe. "Raymond, I can't, you can and you will. You've tripled our revenue in 8 months. You're the future of this company. Plus," he smiled grimly, "I want to see the look on your father's face when you become his biggest competitor. Call it an old man's revenge fantasy." We restructured Shaw Global, rebranded as Shaw Johnson Logistics. The hyphenated name sent a message: I was building something new, something better. By January 2021, we'd overtaken Lawson Logistics in market share for the Mid-Atlantic region. I heard through the grapevine that Daddy was furious, that Martin blamed me for stealing clients, that Devin called me a traitor. Good. Feel how it feels to lose something you took for granted. Raymond died in March 2021, peaceful and satisfied. At his funeral, he had almost 200 mourners. People who loved him, respected him, grieved genuinely. At the reading of his will, I inherited Shaw Johnson Logistics completely. I was 28 years old and CEO of a $40 million company. The girl they'd called mediocre now controlled their biggest competitor. I didn't reach out to my family. Didn't gloat, didn't send announcements, didn't exist to them just as I'd promised. Until Martin called in June 2021. I almost didn't answer the unknown number. "Linda. It's Martin." His voice sounded strained, careful. Like he was talking to a stranger. He was. "It's Ms. Johnson. What do you want?" Professional, cold, exactly what he deserved. "Look, I know you're angry, angry doesn't begin to cover it. You have 30 seconds. I timed it on my watch. Dad's company is struggling. You know that already, you're taking all our clients. He's too proud to call, but I'm asking, begging, can we meet? Work something out. Maybe a merger or partnership." I laughed, sharp and humorless. "Let me understand. You called me a bitch, told me I was pathetic, said I had no real skills. Now you want a merger because Daddy's sinking and you can't fix it." "Linda, Ms. Johnson." "Ms. Johnson," he corrected, teeth gritted, "this is business. We can put family stuff aside." "You're right. This is business. And business-wise, Lawson Logistics is a sinking ship with toxic leadership, fraudulent practices, and dismal employee satisfaction. Why would I merge with failure?" Martin's breathing got heavy. "You're really going to destroy our family over hurt feelings?" "No. I'm building my company. You're destroying yourselves through incompetence. Those are different things. And we're not family. You made that clear." "Linda, please," I hung up. Blocked the number. Went back to work. They ambushed me at my office 3 weeks later. Daddy, Martin, and Devin showed up unannounced, pushing past my assistant despite her protests. I was in a meeting with potential investors from Seattle, a meeting that could secure $15 million in expansion capital. Linda, we need to talk. Now. Daddy's voice boomed through my office door. My assistant's panicked face appeared. Miss Johnson, I'm so sorry, it's fine, Maya. Please ask our guests to wait in the conference room. Offer them lunch, my apologies. I stood, smoothed my suit, Armani now, not the clearance rack, and opened the door to face them. You have 5 minutes before I call security. Make it count. They'd aged since Christmas 2019. Daddy looked grayer, thinner, stress carved into his face. Martin had gained weight, his suit expensive but ill-fitting. Devon looked angry, always angry. You can't just cut us off like this, Daddy started, trying his old authority voice. Your family. You owe us, I owe you nothing. 4 minutes, 30 seconds. Martin stepped forward, trying charm now. Look, we were wrong. That Christmas, the things we said, we were drunk, angry, stupid. We didn't mean it. Yes, you did. You meant every word. That's why it hurts so much. Devon exploded then. This is ridiculous. You're destroying Dad's legacy over some words. Grow up. I'm not destroying anything. You three are hemorrhaging clients because your service is terrible, your logistics models are outdated, and your employees hate working for you. I've hired 6 of your former staff. Want to know what they say? That working for Lawson Logistics was toxic, demeaning, and hopeless. They're just bitter, Martin protested. No, they're honest. Like Tanya Williams, your warehouse supervisor who reported sexual harassment by Devon 3 times and was ignored. I pulled out a file, I'd known this confrontation was coming. Or Martin Adams, no relation to my brother, who documented safety violations and was fired for poor performance 2 weeks later. Or the 12 other employees who filed complaints with the EEOC in the last 18 months. I slid the folder across my desk. I've been documenting everything. Your company isn't failing because of me. It's failing because of you. Daddy's face went red. You have no right, I have every right. I'm a competitor in the same industry. This is all public record from legal filings. Plus information your former employees volunteered because they want justice. Devon actually lunged at me like he was going to grab the folder or maybe me. But my COO, Trevor Matthews, 6'4", former Marine, appeared in the doorway. Ms. Johnson, is there a problem? His voice was polite, his presence threatening. No problem, Trevor. These gentlemen were just leaving. The hell we are, Devon snarled. Security, Trevor spoke into his radio calmly. 3 escorts needed for Miss Johnson's office. Immediately. That's when Daddy played his final card. I'm dying, he said quietly. The room froze. What? I heard my voice crack despite myself. Pancreatic cancer. Stage 4. 6 months, maybe. He looked at me, and for the first time in my life, I saw my father vulnerable. I wanted to make things right before I go. Leave you the company, make you CEO. Your brothers have agreed. The manipulation was masterful. Dying father, deathbed redemption, one last chance at family. Except. You're lying. The words came out flat, certain. Daddy blinked, surprised. What? Linda, I have cancer. No, you don't. You're lying about dying to manipulate me into saving your company. I opened my laptop, turned it around. See this? It's a background check service I use for executive hires. It includes medical records with consent, or with subpoena for due diligence on potential business partners. I ran checks on all 3 of you last month because I figured you'd eventually try something. Martin's face went white. You can't access medical records, I can when investigating potential fraud in business dealings. You approached me for a merger. That makes you potential partners subject to due diligence. My lawyers are very thorough. I pointed to the screen. Daddy, your last physical was April 2021. Perfect health except high cholesterol. No cancer. No treatments. Nothing. The silence was devastating. You were willing to fake terminal cancer to manipulate me. That's who you are. Devin found his voice first. Okay, so he exaggerated, he lied. About dying. To emotionally manipulate his daughter, sorry, the mistake he never wanted, into saving his failing business. I stood, done with this conversation. The answer is no. No merger, no buyout, no help. Lawson Logistics will fail, and it'll be because you three ran it into the ground through cruelty, incompetence, and fraud. You're really this vindictive? Martin asked, almost awed. You'll let everything we built just die. I'm not vindictive. I'm just done saving people who'd never save me. Now get out before I have you arrested for trespassing. Trevor and 2 security guards appeared. My family, former family, had no choice but to leave. As they reached the door, I called out, "Oh, and Daddy." The IRS received an anonymous tip about those offshore accounts. Expect an audit. Merry Christmas. Lawson Logistics filed for bankruptcy in October 2021. Daddy managed to keep the house but nothing else. Martin got divorced when the money dried up. Jennifer was smart enough to leave a sinking ship. Devin's drinking problem, always hidden, became public. They lost everything, not because I destroyed them, but because their empire was built on fraud, cruelty, and exploitation. Without me there to fix their mistakes, it crumbled. Shaw Johnson Logistics expanded. $75 million in revenue by end of 2021. I hired ethically, paid fairly, promoted women and people of color based on merit. Built the company Raymond and Grandma Jean would be proud of. I got a call from Mama in December 2021, exactly 2 years after that Christmas. Your father wants to apologize, she said, her voice small. He's asking if you'll come for Christmas dinner. It would mean a lot. Why would I do that? Because we're family. No, we're not. You made that clear when you called me mediocre, when you told me I shouldn't have been born, when you watched everyone attack me and did nothing. You're strangers who share my DNA. That's all. Linda, please, it's Ms. Johnson. And Mama. Tell Daddy I said this, you told me I should have never been born. You were wrong. I was born exactly when and how I needed to be, into a family that showed me what not to become. Thank you for the lesson. Now leave me alone. I hung up. Blocked her number. Went back to building my empire. I'm 30 years old now, October 2024. Shaw Johnson Logistics is worth $95 million and growing. I've been profiled in Forbes, Black Enterprise, and Fortune. I mentor young women trying to break into logistics and corporate leadership. Last week, I got engaged to Trevor, the COO who stood guard that day. He's kind, loyal, sees me for who I am. Everything my family never did. They tried to break me by saying I shouldn't exist. Instead, they freed me to build something extraordinary. The girl they called a mistake became the woman who proved them catastrophically wrong. And honestly, that's the best revenge of all. Not destruction, evolution. Becoming so successful that their cruelty becomes irrelevant. They said I should have never been born. I proved that I was born for exactly this, to rise, to build, to win. To show the world that the daughter they discarded was the only one worth keeping. That's my story. And I'm just getting started.